Hi, I'm here today with the 68 Rolls Royce, and I just had an aftermarket heat and AC unit put in this thing, and I got it from Old Air Products, and I'll show you how we did it. Okay, this car did have factory AC, but it wasn't working quite right, and it wasn't very effective at cooling the car off, so I decided to put in an aftermarket setup. The original evaporator that was in here actually leaked. It had a slow freon leak, and it actually leaked condensation too. We tried unclogging the drain tube, and we still had condensation dripping, mostly on the driver's side floor above the pedals, and it would run down the sides of the console as well. So it just was not a very good system, and obviously it was designed for R12, and it had been retrofitted to 134A. And as you know, a lot of you guys know, you lose a lot of efficiency when you retrofit from R12 to 134A. 134A in an R12 system just isn't as effective as the original R12 would be. But that retrofit was actually done before I bought the car. So this system is called the Hurricane. We got it from Old Air Products. And we put it in the trunk here, and this unit does both heat and AC. Here's the low pressure side line for Freon, the high pressure side, and those are the two heater hoses there. And then what we did is we put the AC vents going through the back, like well area here where the convertible top goes into when you have it retracted. And it actually works really well. I haven't used the heat yet, obviously, because it's hot out, but the AC works really well. And this system is actually designed to go inside the car, like under the dash or something, but we didn't have room to do that in this car, so we put it in the trunk here instead. And we ran all the lines down through the floor of the trunk and along the frame underneath, all the way up front to the engine bay where we have everything connected. So I mean, you will lose a little bit of efficiency with the Freon, and probably more so with the heat, but you know, I don't need a whole lot of heat anyway, but I have a feeling it'll get good and warm. It'll just take a little bit longer, you know, for the hot water to get back here. But the AC is very effective. It gets good and cold. The only part of this AC system that is factory anymore is actually the condenser in front of the radiator there, which you really can't see it. But other than that, this is an aftermarket compressor over here. Well, it's actually, I shouldn't say an aftermarket, it's one that was a General Motors compressor, one that was typically used on a 350 like this. So it's not the original Rolls compressor. Because this AC system was designed to be used inside the car, we obviously had to come up with an air return system to get air back into the trunk, because it draws the air from the trunk and blows it into the car. So essentially what we did, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but at each corner we cut holes into the car right there, and that will allow air to go from the passenger compartment back into the trunk. And we did the same on both sides. We used a 2.5-inch hole saw to make these holes, and then we just covered them to cover the sharp edges. But that allows air back into the trunk, and there's a section of trunk rubber here that's missing, and I never replaced it, so it will, you know, draw a little bit of air in through there as well. But yeah, it seems to work perfectly fine. Okay, so here in the back seat of the Rolls, this is going to be the area where the air return is. Like I showed you how we used the hole saw and made those holes in the trunk. Those holes open up into this cavity, if you want to call it that, in between the convertible vinyl top and the headliner. And as you can see, the headliner is not tight against here on either side. It was just that way by design. So it does draw air in through there. And it also can draw air through the headliner itself. So that's where, you know, a lot of the air comes from when it returns into the trunk from inside the car. So here we are in the back seat of the Rolls Royce, and I'll show you how we did these vents back here. So there are the 4 vents where the AC comes out. We do have the vents angled upward to direct the air up above the edge of the back seat here. But I actually built an air deflector to deflect the air up more into the car, because some of the air does still hit the back seat. And I'll show you how I did that. So here we have an air deflector that I built. to go in that back well area behind the back window to deflect the air from the vents into the car better so it doesn't hit the back seat. And all this basically is, I took a sheet of plywood and I cut it, to fit the inside area of the car there. And then we just built these little ramps so it would be at the right angle. And I had a leather convertible boot cover that would cover the convertible top when it's in the down position, and it never fit the car. I think the leather shrunk over the years, so I decided, since I can't use that anyway, and I never have used it since I owned the car, I decided to use that leather, which matches the interior perfectly, and cover this thing, to cover the plywood so it has more of a factory look. And I was able to tuck the leather up over the edge here, so this is the edge that you actually see when you look through the back window, and this bottom edge is tucked under the edge of the back window, so you don't actually see that, because you can still see the like the snaps here where you would snap the convertible top on. This wasn't long enough that I could tuck it underneath the edge, but that part of it doesn't show anyway. It's under the edge of the window, but it does have a nice factory look. I'll put it inside the back window then, and you can see how that looks, and it works very well at deflecting the air up and into the car. Okay, so here we got the back well area where the convertible top goes in. Not sure if you can see that or not. There's probably a glare, but and I'll do another shot here and you can see what it looks like with this air deflector, if you want to call it that, with that air deflector in place. Alright, now I put that air deflector that I built in place here so you can see how that looks. You can see the white piping on there and also the white piping on the back of the seat. So when you're looking in through the back window, it does have a nice, sort of factory appearance. It doesn't look like something that was, just thrown together. So I'll let you see it from inside the car. We'll come in here, and this is what it looks like from the inside. You can see the vents down there, and the air hits that deflector and throws the air right up into the car. It's a perfect angle. You really feel a lot of air blowing, on the back of your head when you're driving. So I'm really happy with this setup. It turned out very well. Old Air Products really makes a good quality product. I'm really impressed with it for the size of the unit. Like the CFM of output of how much air it blows, it's just really good. There's no doubt about it, the guys who designed these things really had a good thing going. So there you have it. And there it is.